Welcome back, guys. Michael here. Just wanted to give you an update on the Dirty Bird. Unfortunately, it's not a good update. So over the summer here in Florida, it's like 8 million degrees and it rains every single day. So I wasn't really focused on too much racing. So I had the car stored in the race car trailer for I don't know, maybe three and a half months, and I'd go out there and I'd crank it once a week, and in that process I actually got a set of fuel injector development 2150cc injectors, because the Snake Eater 1500cc's I had ran them beyond 100% duty cycle, and I don't know exactly how to explain that, but in my mind I envision the injector spraying on the backside of a closed intake valve, so that's probably not a good thing. So I went ahead and got some bigger injectors. I got it from my buddy Kenny with Northern Performance Cars. Gave me a great deal on them. They're brand new, so I went ahead and dropped them in when it was in the trailer, and so I did the brakes and the wheels and all that stuff before I put it into hibernation, if you will. So we pulled it out like last week, and I replaced the rotten wood that was on the trailer ramp. It was all rotted out, so I did that too. So I have been kind of busy, and then we got the Trans Am out of the trailer, and we got it up on the lift and set it on these cradles right here that I built just out of wood. That's basically so that you can set the weight of the car down on the suspension, but you can still get underneath it with a creeper because it's pretty low. I wouldn't say it's necessarily slammed because I never cut out the drive shaft tunnel above the torque arm, so I'm only able to go so low. It's kind of one of those things I regret, you know, but there's a lot of things you do different if you could do something over again. So, but as you can see, you're not getting under there. So you set it on these cradles, and that gives you the ability to roll under there and set all your bar angles and your pinion angle, set the coilovers to the ride height that you want. So we did all that, and then I decided that I was going to go ahead and do a little bit of street tuning just to clean up the VE table with the new injectors. And while doing so, I started having trouble tuning, which normally that's not an issue. Not that I'm a great tuner or anything like that, not to sound like that, but it was whooping me. I was getting pretty frustrated, and I noticed that I have dual widebands, one in each bank, and my AFRs was the bank 1 was a lot leaner, almost a full point leaner than bank 2, and I noticed, you know, just cruising with the car, that the bank 1 exhaust it just sounded different to me. You know, you just kind of develop like a memory of what it sounds like, how the idle is, the tone of it, I guess. Well, it was sounding weird to me, so I went ahead and drove it on back to the shop, and I took a temp gun was the first thing I did, and I hit the header tubes. And I know that when this engine was fresh, like back in January, my headers would put out at an idle between 280 and 300 degrees right at the head. All 8 of them were within like 20-25 degrees. And so yesterday, like I said, I broke out the heat gun, and number 3 cylinder was over 500 degrees, and there was a couple other cylinders that were high, you know, high 300s, low 400s, and then there was 2, 8, 1, and 7 were 280 degrees. So I knew something was going on, but I didn't really put it together at that time. I just seen the one cylinder that was 500 degrees. So I shut it down, and I started pulling spark plugs out, and pretty much all the spark plugs were soaking wet except number 3. It was white, dry. So I said, okay, well, that explains the AFR problem that I was having and the bank-to-bank wideband readings that I was seeing. So from that point, I said, well, I just put these brand new injectors in here, so what I'll go ahead and do next is just swap that injector around. You know, it's possible maybe I got a bad injector. So I moved the number 3 injector to the number 1 cylinder and cranked it back up, I think I just got a no-see-um in my ear here. That's pretty awesome. So I moved the injector to the number 1 cylinder and started the car up, and number 3 was still cooking. I mean, it ran straight up to 500 degrees. So at that point, it's either going to be lifter, push rod, rocker arm, something in there not working like it's supposed to. So I pulled the valve cover off, and sure enough, you can see the crack right across the top, and the push rod is almost pushed all the way through the rocker arm, like if you compare it to that one. And then I noticed this one here's got a crack, and as I just inspect further, I think that was it for this side, those two. But that one there, I'm not real excited to pull the rocker arms off and look at that push rod, because it's probably not going to be good. But so that's where we're at with it. I'm gonna go ahead and pull the rocker arms off. I'm gonna check that push rod, and it doesn't look like I have stock pedestals, so that means I got to buy stock pedestals as well. And I'm gonna go ahead and order some offset or LS3 intake rocker arms. I'm just gonna go back with factory stock, which is what I should have did from the beginning, but it's just one of those things, you know, back to what I mentioned earlier. If you could go back and do things differently, I would have ran stock rocker arms, because, you know, the more I've learned and been educated, those rocker arms are super heavy. So, you know, that affects the valve getting back out of the cylinder and all, beats on the valves. It's hard on springs. So I'm gonna go back with some OEM rocker arms, lightweight, should spin up a little bit quicker, might even make some more horsepower. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these rocker arms off, and I'll probably go ahead and pull the valve cover on the other side, get those rocker arms off as well. Alright, so I got all the rockers off of this side, got the coils, valve cover off the bank 2 passenger side, and so nothing was wrong at all with the passenger side, just the driver's side. Had one hairline fracture and then one rocker arm that went, you know, straight to Snap City. Push rod's good, pulled it out, laid it on a flat surface and rolled it. It's good, no damage there. Let's see, so I don't have a spring install height tool to do it the proper way to see if my valves are damaged or tulipped or anything of that sort. What I do have is a machined straight edge and some filler gauges. So I put the straight edge across the top, and it's only touching the intake valves. So I just took a filler gauge and stuck it under the exhaust valves, and it's 12 thousandths difference from the intake valve to the exhaust valve across the board. So, and I don't really know what that means either. So I picked up the phone and called the machinist who assembled my engine, and he said that that's not uncommon to have intake valves and exhaust valves to be different heights, as long as they're uniform, as long as they're all the same height. All your intake valves should be the same height, all your exhaust valves should be the same height. So I just got to figure out if these push rods will work with OEM rocker arms, and I need to order some. I need 8 offset intake LS3 rocker arms. I need LS3 pedestals, and I'm going to use some standard, just regular LS1 rocker arms that I have that already have the trunnion upgrade, and I'm going to get 8 single trunnion upgrades, the bushing style trunnions, and I'll go ahead and install them, probably make a little video on that too, even though there's, I don't know, 60 of them on YouTube. So these particular rocker arms that I had here, they don't use factory pedestals. They got like their own little stands here. This is the one that just completely cracked. I mean, it's devastated, straight trash. But if anybody sees this video, I do have 14 good roller rocker arms for an LS3 that anybody can have before I just throw them in the trash can. So go ahead and get these rocker arms and parts ordered probably tonight. I think we're about done for this evening. The mosquitoes are starting to come out. They're eating my feet up. You know, I got my slides on. So you want to follow along and see what happens next. We got a lot of work to do. Hopefully we're going to make some good races, some good shootouts, maybe some grudge racing, something like that this winter. I'm certainly looking forward to racing after, you know, pretty much having withdrawals through the summer. So just make sure that you hit that like button, the subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notifications when the next videos drop. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.